Following podcast may be explicit. One Joe Young presents Adventures from the Shed, a tabletop RPG podcast. You can find us online at adventuresfromtheshed.com. You are finding us right here, right now. We are online. You probably found us in your favorite podcast app. You might also be finding us on YouTube. We are Adventures from the Shed. We're coming at you with a little side adventure in the Dungeon World setting. And we'll be getting that kicked off tonight. With me, I have three other wonderful folks. Let's go around here and let's see who wants to go first. I'll let you guys pick. Maybe I won't.
Yeah, I'll go first. That's fine. Hi, I'm Zeb. I'm playing Duke, the human thief.
The thief.
That's pretty much it.
Randy's still muted, so go ahead, Chris.
All right, this is Chris. I'm playing Manfred Blackwell, the Paladin, also human.
The Paladin.
Oh, good. So you didn't hear me yell Zeb when you were asking who to go first.
Nope.
I wasn't rude. Now I am. And I'm Dorothus Patty Becca, a wizard. Nice
And
to
Randy.
meet you. And Randy. Played by Randy. This guy.
So we are going to play in the Dungeon World system, and for those who have listened to the podcast before, you've probably heard us play Dungeon World previously. This is the first time with this cast of crew. Zeb is new to it, so we'll be doing some explanations as we go along. We as a system, Dungeon World is rules light, which means there's not a lot of rules to follow. You're pretty much open to adventure through the world, tell a story, and then when something meaningful is about to happen, we roll dice to determine the outcome of that meaningful thing, whether it be an attack or trying to sneak through an enemy camp, or maybe even just tying the guard shoes together. If you're in some form of danger, you'll have to roll to see if you can get away from that danger or out of that danger. And each of the characters in this system, the way I play it, is they are the epitome of that thing in the world. So Zeb is playing the thief, and in this world there will only be one the thief. There may be other people that rob from others or sneak around or play around with poisons or whatever, but there's only one the thief in this world. Randy is playing the wizard, same thing there, and Chris is playing the paladin. So yeah, there may be other holy warriors out in these lands, but there is only one paladin. And there's a magician here or there, maybe even a summoner, but there's only one wizard, and that is Dorothus. What was the last name?
Becca. Dorothus Patty Becca.
Patty Becca?
Patty Becca.
So Patty.
Yes.
Okay.
You can call him Patty.
It's Pat.
The Wizard of Patty Becca.
Pot.
Nice.
Patty Becca.
Hot.
So I've already given our cast of characters here a heads up on how I'm going to start this adventure, but it is new. A new way that I've chosen to start an adventure. It's a really old trope and a really old joke, but it's new for me for trying to start an adventure. So the way we're going to do this is you guys will determine why you're all together, or if you already know, that's great. But the three of you, so the thief, the wizard, and the paladin walk into a bar. And over in the corner, there's a suspicious group of three people dressed in dark crimson robes, and one of you recognizes them. Who is it?
Great. I'm late for my reunion. I guess I'll go meet those guys at that table over there. Sorry, I forgot my cloak.
Is this the Patty Becca reunion?
This is... Oh, I'm sorry. You went to the other wizarding college called sorcery. Sorry there, Fred.
Sorcery. Idiots. You hate sorcerers for some reason.
We're just a little different, that's all.
So are you approaching them that way?
Yeah, he just walks up like, oh, hey, Fred. Sorry.
Hey, buddy. So are you saying that when you get closer to them, you do not recognize them?
He recognizes one guy from the group. Hello, it's good to see you.
Sorry, I was just opening a note on my computer and the window vanished on me.
Well, what's a computer?
Yeah, keep talking.
When I walked into this room, I saw three people, and I knew it was you. I just knew it was going to be you.
All right. So, what is this guy's name that you recognize?
I think I just called him Fred, but we can just call him Fredrickson von Drake. Let's go that.
Yeah, that's a name.
Fred. I got Fred.
Oh, Fred.
Von Drake. I just typed Vin Drake. He's Vin Diesel's dragon brother.
That's even better.
Family.
I'm
All
here
right.
with my family.
So, Fred recognizes you. Do you have a nickname, or is it just what would people call you?
Probably just
Doritos.
Pat. Doritos.
Doritos. But just Pat.
Just Pat.
All right. So somebody who had spent any time with in the past would know you as Pat. Okay.
Yeah.
So when Fred turns around, he sees you. He says, "Pat, what are you doing in this neck of the woods?"
Didn't you not summon me? I thought you told me to meet you here with this group here. Did you not?
And you can see he's clearly confused. He's got that, the wrinkled brow look of, and then he looks over at one of the other two he's sitting with, and they're also looking confused. Then he looks at the other one, and their eyes go wide, and they put their head down and pretend they're not listening.
I got this letter here. It said to meet me here at... Oh, I'm on the wrong night. Maybe it wasn't from you.
Open mic nights tomorrow, man.
Anyway, I'm supposed to meet someone here about an adventure of some sort. Do you know anything about that?
I hope the letter was more specific than an adventure of some sort.
It says find out more later. Comma.
It's a hashtag keep them guessing.
Yeah.
All right, I'm trying to take a couple notes here so I can refer back to it as we go.
My character yawns.
Let's see, one of the either Paladin or the thief does know who the barkeep is, and they wave over at your group. The barkeep waves over at your group.
Yo, it's me. I'm the guy who recognizes him.
Duke.
I know.
Hey, how's it going, barkeep man?
Great. We'll just call him Phil.
Phil.
Just
Wait,
because
hey,
that's
were
one
you
of the
able
first
to,
names I use all the time.
He fills the drinks.
Phil.
Yep.
Phil.
Phil Mamug. That's his last name is Mamug.
I lean in close to him and I'm like, "Hey, Phil, were you able to fence off those items I got for you a couple weeks ago?"
That Phil.
Yeah. That table over there that your friend's talking to, one of them bought two of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait.
I hope they keep them separate because we don't want that explosion again.
Yeah, me too. I mean, after putting them all in one bag, I kind of learned my lesson the hard way.
Ouch! Yeah.
And I show my hand and like it's all bandaged up and stuff.
The firecracker injury of not four. Yeah. So he pours you a drink, and back at the table with Pat, Fred is starting to poke at the other person, the one that's sitting at his left, and he's like, "Oh, all right. What did you do? Why did you send a letter?" And the other person just starts speaking in a language that you don't understand.
What's he saying to you?
I'm afraid I can't tell you. You're not part of the order.
How do I join your...
Sorcerer suck butt?
I know. Is this the count over here?
You know what? Fine.
Lad.
Keep your secrets.
There are 3 sorcerers at the table. Didn't have all the emphasis. I'm trying to keep it lower key. Well, you've got
maybe...
the letter now.
What did he do? Are you going to tell me, or do I have to pay you some gold?
We always like to have the gold.
And then I slide a coin and have him reach for it under my hand, and then he gets 1 silver piece instead.
Real dick move there, man. Sure. So, Chris, as far as Manfred goes, how does he feel about what seems to be underhanded stuff going on? I don't know what kind of
Yeah,
paladin he
he's
is.
not. Oh, he definitely is. I did a lawful, so there's no mercy to criminals. I guess is kind of the
Okay.
thing. Or what is, I don't know if it's criminals or yeah, no mercy. Yeah, deny mercy to a criminal or unbeliever. Yeah, he's not down with this group. He's he kind of puts his hands on the table and leans into the guy that's kind of getting nervous. Do we make you nervous?
I'm purchasing information, just so you know.
Tell
He-
me what
he-
you know. I'll use my I am the law power. So he kind of
He keeps yeah, well, let's go with that. Go ahead and read it, and let's see how it applies here.
all right. So I am the law. When you give an NPC an order based on your divine authority, the charisma, and then you get to choose one of these items. Do what you say, back away cautiously, then flee or attack you. And
So
then if I
in
get a 10
this
plus, I take
case,
one forward.
what because we're learning who the paladin is at this point, what is Manfred's divine authority, or what is his authority? And when we say, we've played this before, it doesn't have to be divine in the sense of godly. It can be, I think one of our paladins was all about the power of money. Money is God, and it was that kind of thing.
For him, it's going to be the truth.
Okay. So when you do I am the law, do you have like a little catch piece that goes in there, like in the name of the truth, or truth not be damned, or something?
Yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue now. I can't.
You can't handle the truth, but I can. Tell me.
No. Maybe like truth conquers all. You will
There you
never
go.
lie in front of you, something like that. All right, yeah. So I just want to tell me what you know.
Okay, go for it. Let's make that roll
All
for
right.
your starting move of
man.
I am the law.
And here we go. Oof. I got a plus. I should have added +2 in for the charisma, so it's still.
Cool. So you got
not
the 7 to 9.
Yeah,
And what is on the 7 to 9 result? What is the thing that you have to, or what are you choosing? I should say.
I'm choosing. I could do what you say. Tell me what you know. Because I feel like he's hiding stuff from us.
I'd listen to him. He's not one to mess with.
No, not really. And then on the 7 to 9 result, what is there's a thing don't you have to pick something about?
Yeah, it's just I do what you say, back away cautiously, then flee or attack you.
On 7 to 9,
they choose
do,
one. Sorry,
okay,
they choose one. Yeah, they choose one.
Understood. Sorry. Yep. Okay. So here's where it's going to get a little tricky. He tells you, but you don't understand it. It sounds, if you had to guess, it sounds like he's speaking in a code, not a language.
Well, as long as Pat hears the words, that's what I've kind of, maybe.
And that's where I was going to go next. So I want to make sure that you say, so you hear, he says, and he looks earnestly at you. He's like, blah, 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 blah. Right. And the Fred, the other guy, the one that Pat recognized, says he does not speak a language you would understand.
Is there like a comprehend languages kind of spell that I don't have yet? I don't know.
Well, technically, if I have a quest or something that I have to do, I could technically get. Well, no, never mind. It's a voice that transcends language. That means people understand me. I forget it.
The other thing about that too, Chris, the reason I wanted to set it up that way is because the guy that you did demand did tell you the truth. Right. The thing is, you just didn't ask. Let's say you didn't ask the translator.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Totally.
And right now he's in no obligation because he just got past.
I guess I could make another role for him, right?
So you can definitely. You definitely could turn to him and say,
translate what he said.
Look, Vendrake, you want to tell him. You're not gonna like what's gonna happen next.
Can I add? Oh, I can add a plus. Cool.
On what?
It's a 9er.
Can I do some sort of help action with that? Since I was kind of backing him up a little bit.
Translate what he said.
Here's the short answer is yes, of course. And the move is the basic move: aid or interfere. And in that case, what aid or interfere does is if you want to help or hinder someone that you have a bond with, and we're treating all three characters as having at least one bond right now because we didn't really explore any backstory. So I just want to at least give that. So anything that says bond, you each have one with each other. But anyway, you roll plus bond with them. So in this case, Randy, you would tell me what it is you're going to do to try and help. And then you will roll +1 because we're going to say you have one bond. And then we would do it on a 10 plus that Manfred, I didn't want to say Chris, Manfred gets another 1 to the roll, which would turn it into a 10. So if you can do a 10 plus.
And if I do
do it up hot,
5 or 6 and under, whatever it is, I affect his outcome? Or
6 minus is an outright fail. 7 to 9, you will help. He'll still get the +1, but there's something else that's going to happen. There will be a cost associated with that.
Okay, so I want to yell along with him just the whole, just listen to what he has to. You need to tell him what your friend told you. Told him. Just tell him, and I want to use that as the help.
Okay.
With the
plus, you're just going to prod him along. So you're going to 2d6 +1, roll +1, and that is for the bond.
Okay, so 10.
Oh, Randy changed the dice. Cool. I hadn't even tried that yet.
Yeah, you have to attach it to something else, and then you can only use the featured ones.
Yeah.
Neat. Cool. All right. Anyway, so that 10 gives the +1 to Chris's roll, which turns it into a 10. So now, Chris, your roll is you still get to pick something, but then you also get a +1 forward when acting on the information,
forward,
right? Yep. Okay. So, in a nutshell, because it would take a lot longer to make it up. In a nutshell, what he tells you is the letter was not supposed to be sent because they did not want to get the wizard involved in private business. However, this person who doesn't speak common, only speaks in code, this person felt that the wizard was needed to help with this problem. And the problem involves a dark necromancer trying to summon power to awaken a volcano in the area.
So what are they, red cloak guys that you said?
They hadn't said yet, but let's give them a name now. They are the Crimson Order because they're Crimson Cloaks.
Yeah, totally. So
they're the Crimson Order.
We could. I get they're all wearing the same clothes.
Yeah, all three wear the same thing. The one that's speaking in code, on his crimson cloak, there is some gold gilded edges where the others don't. So he has the appearance of being slightly higher in station within a cult or order.
So he's possibly the leader. Hey, we should go get the wizard. But it's like, we could take care of this ourselves. We're the Crimson Order. Is that the kind of vibe I'm getting there? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And he's like the local leader. He's like these guys as sergeant, but he's
like
not
a chapter. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He's not the boss of the order or anything, but he is. He felt like he could get away with sending the letter. And you're getting all this as like they're just spilling their guts, like your shirt says. It's just like spilling his guts because the power of that you are compelling him with, as well as the aid that Pat threw in there, is like, all right, so Fred's kind of telling him blah blah blah, you got to tell me everything. And so anyway, the whole of it is the request is to the wizard. And Randy, this is the note that Pat would have gotten. We need your assistance stopping a dark necromancer from awakening the beast in the volcano. And that wasn't supposed to be sent to you because they felt like they could handle it without getting you involved.
Oh, it does say it. I just had to pull it out of its envelope more. Help with. I'm sorry. Well, it was there the whole time.
It was written pretty cryptic, and it was only this little bit that actually put the pieces together.
Just shows a bone, a skeleton, a little mountain, and a fireball.
Yeah, it was all stick figures. You had to interpret. Yeah.
Wingdings or something.
Yes.
So in the middle of this long explanation, I show up and I have a round of drinks on the house for everybody, including the 3 cloaked members.
All right.
I said that's how I join in the conversation.
Why did you not want my help? Because of our rivalry from the past? I mean, I'm sorry that we beat you in Squidditch,
Squidditch.
where we sail around on squids and throw balls through hoops.
Instead of a flying little insect thing, it's squids. Yay!
That's a wild ride, man.
Oh,
And it really is that. It's the matter of pride. They're sure that they can handle it and they don't need you. And he says so much. Your help is not needed, but now
So
that you know,
I
we can help you.
nudge Pot. Pot, what do you think, guys? We think we give these JV team a chance here.
I got a few more questions for them, but I don't think they'll stand a chance. You won't meet like this unless there's already been issues going on. How many of your number have already fallen to the necromancer and increased his army?
None so far. We have not gone there yet.
Spill your guts. Say the truth. You want me to roll again? I get +1 on this
No,
guy.
he's still on board with it,
Okay.
and he has not yet.
Your friend would not have sent the letter to me if you guys haven't tried before and realized maybe the wizard would be helpful. No, don't. Yeah, you.
It turns out, and this goes through the whole blah 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 blah, then translated to it appears that the necromancer now has a pretty much an army of undead goblins, because he took out an entire goblin village as part of getting his force ready to get under the volcano. The goblins were the tribal ones that lived at the base of the volcano and kind of worshipped it for millennia practically. And when the necromancer came in, he just kind of like wiped them out, raised them back up, and has his army.
Okay, but if I find one in a crimson cloak, I'm smacking you in the face with my staff.
Well, they know how to make red dye. The goblins do. Don't kill me because they can make a red cloak.
You think my measly 8 with a -1 strength is going to kill you?
No, but those crazy damn rituals will.
Oh, that's pretty good.
And for Duke, when you get back to the table with the drinks, Phil had indicated one of the guys had bought 2 of those items. And when he sees you coming over, he kind of closes his robe more tightly, and you see a big lump on one side of it.
Yeah, I've got an idea. So we're taking this quest whether they like it or not, right?
Yes.
All right.
I think Randy's got a little ego to stroke here for Pat.
And I'm gonna look at the leader guy, and I'm gonna tell him, hey, look, if we're going to do this dangerous thing and fight this big army of undead goblins, then I'm gonna need those 2 things that you bought off my buddy at the bar over there. I need the staff of light and the stick of explosion.
Make sure you write that down.
You had a bag of sticks?
This is the blah, blah, blah guy. He only talks in code. He talks in a language you guys don't understand. Randy, for Pat's purposes, this is probably something he would have encountered in the past with the Crimson Order. It is their secret code that they talk in. However, this guy, in a bad experiment, got stuck speaking only that. He cannot speak any other language now.
So
The upside to that experiment is he does understand every other language, but he can only communicate in the Crimson Order code.
So it's like Thieves' Cant in a way.
Yeah, in a way.
Would Zeb's character be able to sort of decipher it after a little bit?
Anybody taking enough time would be able to, because they have to learn that to become part of the Crimson Order. You have to learn it. So it is a learned language, just like any other. It's not like a magical language or anything. But in a really bad experiment where he was trying to become, essentially a universal translator, he broke himself, and he now can only speak in the code, although he can't understand everything else. So when you ask him for those things from Duke, he does his blah, 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 blah. And Fred says, I had no idea you had bought those things. Yes, you should give them back.
It's freaking Simish, or what's that game? The Sims? Simish?
Sims. Yeah. Well, the Sims.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Oh gosh, a whole side note forever. But my wife and I still have this inside joke from the Sims from I don't know how many years ago. Because their language is hysterical, and there's always this one that would say "Disgra is Freche," and that's just Exactly.
He's got
It's
his franchise.
it's lasted now for at least 10, 15 years. I don't
I'd
know.
say that every time I made dinner. Dishwa, fresh.
Exactly. So he hands back the staff of light and the of explosions. The
The
what?
stick. It's just a
The stick.
candle and a dynamite stick.
Oh, okay. There you go. You got those. He hands them back, and you see he gives this glance over towards the bartender, and you can immediately read on his face what he's wondering is, am I getting my money back?
No.
Maybe you should go ask him.
Right. But you can see that's the look he's giving, like, I just paid for these things and I'm giving them up. Now he's not saying any of this because blah 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 blah.
Yeah, if you can communicate that to the bartender, then go for it. But
Yeah.
whatever.
And that's what he'll work on next. But you get those pieces back. They are still, for Manfred, you can see they're still riveted to, they're like under the spotlight waiting for the next question from the interrogator. That's the feeling you get between the way that Pat and Manfred just went at them, like, tell me what you know. What was it? I swear to God, swear to me.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Swear to me.
That kind of thing.
Where
he's
is
in
this
that mode.
necromancer?
Yeah.
Where is this necromancer?
Family of the volcano.
Did you say where or who?
No, where? Well, yeah,
Where?
I definitely want to know who too.
So the volcano is a well-known one. You all either would have traveled past it or heard about it at some point. It does erupt every few years. It's a very active volcano, but it always seems to erupt in the same direction, away from the goblin tribe, and that's why they worship it, because it never harms them. So this is very common.
What's the volcano's name, though?
That's a good question. Now that you asked, you get to tell me what it is.
Smoky Top.
Smoky Top. And it was named by the goblins. So they named it Smoky Top. And this is the main, when you look at any map that any cartographer draws of the region you are in, it is one of the largest things on the map. So it takes up a lot of space, miles across. People know where it is. And
is it days away or
less than a day's travel away from it? So not far.
Okay, that's cool. So who is this necromancer?
You can tell he does not want to answer you, and it's taking everything he can to, even though everything he's trying is to stop him. You've already compelled him to speak the truth to you, because truth is important, right? And
I pulled him a little bit closer. What is hidden in darkness will come to light. Speak the truth.
Where are they?
Fred gives a quick glance at Pat, and he says, "It is Thomas. You remember Thomas?" And Thomas was the previous head of the Crimson Order. He left the Crimson Order for some unknown thing a few years ago.
He looked a little bit too long into the abyss. The demons have him now.
Why do you feel like you can stop him now after he's obtained his army? Couldn't you have stopped him before?
No one knew where he was or what he was doing.
I thought you Crimson folk kept ties on each other.
Anyone can find a way to disappear sometimes, you know.
That's true. And then I use invisibility.
Oh
yeah,
so that's what that's like.
I just gotta blend in. But
do other prep for the day, though. By the way,
the other thing that you would know, just because of your history with the Crimson Order, is that Thomas, the previous head of the Crimson Order, who is now being named as the Necromancer, he was, to date, over the millennia of the Crimson Order, the most powerful one that had ever presided over the Order. Now, the Order in general has always been good people trying to do good things, but there's always a few bad apples every now and then, and they do their best to weed them out. And maybe in your past, you helped them one time with chasing down a rogue magician or something.
Well, look, we're going to either help you or do it ourselves. So you can either allow us to be with your team, or we can just go alone.
And it's another one where it's like the truth serum is working and he's sweating out the truth. He doesn't want to, but he does say, Now that you're here, you might as well go alone. You do not need us.
Well, thank you for
not alone wasn't the right word. He's just telling you to go without them.
Well, thank you for your sudden trust.
No, you don't.
We'll catch up.
Yeah, exactly. I chose the wrong word there. He would have just said, "You do not need them."
Well,
to go with
Duke
you.
Blackwell, it was nice knowing you.
What?
To the Necromancer's army I go.
I'll be back in a body bag. You send that many goblin zombies after him, there better be one thing you remember: a lot of body bags. First blood.
Yep.
All right. What time of day would we say it is?
What time of day do you want it to be?
I
You
mean,
walked into a bar.
Drake did buy some drinks to bring over to the table, from what I heard.
Who's doing morning drinking? Who's doing afternoon drinking? Who's doing night drinking? That determines what time you walked in, I guess.
Well, they don't call me Pat for nothing. I'm a drink like an Irish. What's an Irish
They do
person?
call me good for nothing, though.
I drink like a dwarf. All right, give me that.
Okay.
We'll drink the night away, then we'll leave at first light. Sound good for you two?
Yeah, it's all right by me.
What is does Manfred drink?
No, he doesn't drink.
Okay.
Okay, then I drink yours.
Let's
fight you for it.
Let's take a moment now that we have a little bit of what our adventure scope is. And Chris, I want to go back to something you had said. Let's go to the Paladin sheet and let's pick a quest. Now that you have kind of an idea of what's going to go on, as in you guys are going to face probably an undead army, as well as some form of powerful necromancer, and there's going to be some kind of big natural disaster, volcano-y, and possibly a beast thing. Go ahead, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and read what quest says. You don't have to read all the different lines, right? But what is quest for a paladin?
When you dedicate yourself to a mission through prayer and ritual cleansing, state what you set out to do. So mine would, I'd say, because I've got the truth thing, say discover the truth of the necromancer and what he's, what corrupted him maybe and all that kind of thing.
Okay.
So mine would be like, and I think, and then you get to choose up to 2 boons.
Yep.
So I definitely want to do senses that pierce lies. I think would be a good one, and a voice that transcends language, so anyone can understand me. Maybe that could be good.
Cool.
But like I said, like maybe that guy could understand me, but then he's speaking back. I'm like, I don't know what you're saying, buddy. And then, and after that, the GM will then tell you what vow or vow. So I kind of like the truth, forbidden lie. So I can't lie, either.
Yeah, but that is what you would like. What I want to see happen.
Yeah. I got
as part of this quest, do you have an actual deity, or is it just truth, or is truth a deity for the paladin?
Yeah, I think it's just an ideal, right? It's like
Okay.
a virtue, so not a god.
Does truth speak to Manfred?
It's the only thing he hears, the truth.
Okay. So when he dedicates himself to the quest and gets the boons from truth, you hear truth speak to you the way truth typically does, of that you'll have senses that pierce lies. No lies will pass through your ears without being filtered to the truth. And then your voice will transcend. So no matter who anyone is or what they understand, they will always understand you while you are setting out to discover the truth of the necromancer. And while this is happening, one thing that truth wants is truth wants you to exercise some hospitality. So somewhere along the quest, there will be someone in need, and you must aid them.
Okay, that's cool. I dig it.
And truth won't tell you what it is yet or who it is yet, but there will be something or someone in need. Okay. And you will know they are in need, and it is required that you aid them in order to maintain the boons.
All right, I dig it.
So when he's talking to truth, is he like sitting in his room, or did he stop like in the middle, like Rain Man, and just like in the middle of the bar
with thought bubbles? Where does how does Manfred Blackwell commune with truth?
I think he probably just take some. He could be anywhere, right? But he just takes some time to himself to sit quietly, think about things. So it's not like he's praying that way, I guess. Just kind of maybe doing a couple mantras that are like, the truth is the most the most powerful virtue, and when a man lies, he murders some part of the world. That kind of thing.
So now we also have, I want to talk about bonds a little bit. So that was one of those things where I was like, I'm sure, Chris, you felt it. As the Paladin, it was probably hard to figure out what your quest was when you didn't even know what we were doing yet.
Oh, yeah.
So
Totally.
now that we had a little idea, I wanted to visit that, like you had mentioned the quest before. The other thing I had mentioned was bonds. Now that we might have a little bit of an idea of how the characters are at least interacting, even if we don't know their backstory. I have already just said you all have a bond with each other. So we're already going to say you have a +1 when it comes to anything with a bond. But what you can look at is right in the bonds section of the character sheet, there are pre-printed ones. If any of those seem to make sense or give you an idea of how to interact with the other character, put their name in there and then tell them why you think that. And it doesn't have to be right now. I'm just saying that's what the next step is.
I could put them for both guys. I got it for both characters.
Go for it, Chris. Let's see what
all right, so I'm going to do Duke's misguided behavior endangers the very soul because he's a thief stealing stuff all the time. I'm like, come on, man. Can you be better than that, And then for the Pot has stood by me in battle and can be trusted completely. I'd say like maybe myself and Doritas were working for the same lord. I'm a knight of the realm, and he was like the wizard, kind of thing. So we kind of worked for the same lord for a while, and then maybe something went bad. Now we're kind of just adventuring around,
So how bonds work? I'll explain a little bit more, Zeb, for your benefit too. Is at the end of each session, and you can find this under the basic moves. Whereas end of session is the name of it. At the end of each session, one of the things you review is, are there any bonds that you have with another character that you think have either been resolved or are no longer relevant? So essentially, the way Chris just worded that, if something happens and it looks like we shouldn't trust something Pat is doing, and Manfred just steps up and says, no, he must be trusted. What he said is true. We got to go through with this, something like that. Then at that point, he would have fulfilled that bond that he put in there. And that's the idea of playing that. And as long as you have a bond written in there, then you also have that plus to anything bond related, like the aid or interfere rule. And that can be very useful, especially when you're trying to help someone else do something. And it also drives the interaction between the characters. So that's an important piece there. It's how you get an experience marked at the end of a session if a bond is resolved or no longer applicable. It can be erased if it's no longer applicable. You'll still mark an experience because maybe you tried, but it just doesn't matter anymore. Maybe the bond is, I'll save him from the dragon, and then the dragon's dead, but you didn't save him from the dragon. So you're like, okay, that's irrelevant. We're not planning on another dragon this week, so let's get rid of that. Yeah. And then just you write a new bond. That's the point of the bonds, to give that little bit of backstory with the characters. Do you have you, Zeb, or Randy, have any thoughts on yours? Zeb?
Yeah, so I just used the pre-filled in one.
Yep.
And the first one is, I stole something from Manfred.
Nice.
And the other one is, Pat knows incriminating details about me.
Nice. And for me, one of the best parts of the first one, I stole something from Manfred, is that's the end of it. There isn't, I stole something from him and he knows it or he doesn't know it. So you can play this however you want.
Maybe that's what Pat knows. But
yeah,
Pat's not being truthful. But he's not being truthful in telling me.
Guess we'll find out.
And what was the second one? Sorry, because I was so focused on how that one was fun.
No, the second one was, Pat knows incriminating details about me.
Nice. Yeah. So that's where it fits. That's where you were saying that.
I can tell this at any time, my friend. At any
Randy,
time.
you got any thoughts on the wizard bonds?
So I also use the pre-generated ones a little bit, but I want to add to Duke's when I get to his. But for starters, Manfred is keeping an important secret from me. I like to think that we start talking about you said the Lord or whatever that we both were kind of working over.
I know that Duke stole my thing, and I know you haven't told me about it, but I'm not saying anything yet.
It's a vicious triangle right there. Yeah.
Someone's knocking at my door, so I'll try to wrap this one up real fast and go put my son back to bed. But the other one is, Duke is misinformed about the world. I will teach them all that I can. So he likes to just
zombie goblins are at the gates. I can hear him.
He likes to just steal as a rogue, but I think I can teach him that being intimidating is also very helpful when it comes to crime.
See you
And
in a
now I'm
moment,
going to
Randy.
go put a kid to bed. I'll be right
Appease the undead goblins.
And then while he's gone, I'll tell the secret that I'm holding from him.
So the other one I was thinking of is I don't think either the rogue or the wizard had anything we would want to fill in after we learned a little bit about the adventure.
No, there was nothing like the quest thing.
Yeah.
for the
Now,
Paladin.
one thing I would say for you, Zeb, for the thief, if anything you've heard so far would make you want to switch what poison you wanted to pick as a poisoner, you're welcome to do that. But it's not a big deal one way or another.
Okay.
I will ask while we wait for Randy to come back. Let's go on the next step of a little bit of info about the character. So for the thief, Zeb, what alignment did you choose?
I chose neutral, but thieves also have a starting move of flexible morals.
Yeah.
So when someone tries to detect my alignment, I can just lie.
You just tell them whatever you want.
Yep.
Now, if you would read the description for neutral, because this plays into the end of session as well. If you fulfilled your alignment by acting in accordance with it, you can also mark an experience. So what does neutral say?
Neutral is avoid detection or infiltrate a location.
Cool. So either be unnoticed or sneak into something. Pretty cool.
Right, yeah.
And then right under that is race. Now you don't get any experience for
That's
being,
fine.
a halfling or human. You just get whatever the bonus is there. What did you picked?
For me,
Human, you said, right?
Yeah, it's human. You are a professional. When you spout lore or discern realities about criminal activities, take +1.
Cool.
Yep.
Then I think that covers it there. So Chris, for the Paladin, what did you have for, you said you picked lawful, right?
Yeah, which is deny mercy to a criminal or unbeliever.
So
And then
essentially, I would say anybody who doesn't follow the truth, so to speak,
Right, yeah.
anyone who's a liar would be
Purely
an
liars,
unbeliever.
man. Right, yeah,
Right.
totally.
We'll just say that he hasn't figured me out yet, and he's never seen me steal anything either.
You definitely do underhanded stuff, but maybe he just hasn't been able to put a code against it yet, right?
Yeah, he's
You're
going to
not-
gather enough evidence.
Yeah,
Well, he's got the thought of a couple jams, so
yeah, exactly. And then the Paladin, you only pick human, but what
Right.
does it have for human?
Yeah, so when you pray for guidance even for a moment and ask what here is evil, the GM will tell you honestly.
Now, this is one of those weird ones where, Zeb, for the purpose of the rules, typically you would just say your whatever alignment you want to say. Realistically, between these characters, they probably already know each other enough to know what the alignments are. But it's one of those where there's kind of a conflicting rule. And when it comes to something like that, I would typically go in the direction of the player. So if Chris were to say that Manfred is praying for guidance, even for a moment, in a group of people asking what here is evil, or in an area, what here is evil. The only thing that I would not immediately answer is if Duke wanted to say, I am evil, because then you could be lumped in with the evil when he gets that detection, so to speak. But other than that, it is free for the rest of the entire world. Chris will get the honest answer when Manfred asks, what here is evil?
It's like the Sorting Hat, and I'm Harry Potter, and I can't figure it out.
Turn to page 374.
Mr. Snape. That wasn't bad, by the way. So Randy, what I was just doing is we're kind of reading over a couple of things on the character sheets to understand more about the Paladin and the thief while you were away. So I'm going to ask you now about the wizard. So for the wizard, what did you choose for alignment?
I am neutral because I don't want to go too far evil with a paladin in the party.
And what is the description for neutral? So we know what you're striving to be as a neutral wizard.
It says discover something about a magical mystery.
Okay. Is it maybe it's a mystery how the necromancer could awaken a volcano then? Because that doesn't seem like a normal thing.
Yeah, he's gonna try to do that. That way he can learn to do something smaller, but just as effective.
The largest force of nature, and then work your way down to like a breeze in the trees.
He's trying to win his science fair project.
It's going to be like a volcanic tunnel from under the water, Just
it's not a real volcano; it's just a huge experiment with acids and bases.
Okay, look, it's vinegar and baking soda. Okay, that's
I believe, Randy, you said you had picked human, right?
no. I am an elf.
Oh, you picked elf. Okay, so go
Yes.
ahead and read what elf is for the race for wizard.
Magic is as natural as breath to you. Detect magic is a cantrip for you.
And
So-
we can take a moment to talk about a couple more things about the wizard, but I'll just throw in there, just like in most games, wizards have spell levels in this game, and cantrip is that easy. You always have these things ready, handy, available kind of deal. What did you pick for first level spell?
Okay, so I did not know how to read that exactly. It says, do I get 2 slots for being level 1+1, or do I pick 2 spells because of that?
So it is, where is it? I got to find the right spot here. So prepare spells. You prepare spells of your choice from your spell book whose total levels don't exceed your own level +1. So you're level 2 or number 2 at this point. You're level 1, so you're level +1.
Okay.
So that means you could have 2 first level spells because that's 1 + 1, 2.
And that's in my arsenal, or just 2 of the ones in the list? I did not understand that either. So
Cantrips, you have them all. First level
Okay.
spells, because cantrip counts as 0, so you automatically get all of those. But then you also, because of detect magic, because of being an elf, that falls under cantrip. So now you have 6 others to choose from, of which for now you can pick 2. When you go up a level, you'll have another number. So essentially you'll go from your level +1. So it's at level 1, it's 2. At level 2, it'll be 3, which means you could actually drop your first level spells and pick 1 third level spell, or you could have 3 first level spells. It's a mix and match however you want.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so since I can have 2 first level spells, that's again how we decided. It would be magic, missile, and invisibility.
Cool. Cool. And those are very typical of what you would expect. So nothing crazy about magic missile. It always hits something and does some damage. And then invisibility, well, you can turn yourself invisible, or any ally. You can touch them and make them invisible.
Because I am very, very weak, and I need to be able to either do damage from a distance with my magic, or get the hell out of there. Or if we want to get stealthy, invisible.
So that's one of the things about the wizard is that spell preparation. So the move is called prepare spells, and that's where you essentially you go in, you go to study your spell book. You're going to take some time with it in quiet isolation, and you're going to say, all right, I'm dropping all the spells I've got, and I'm going to reload whatever the number is, in this case 2.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the only other thing, to me at least, that bears a little bit of explanation is a wizard can do rituals. And under the rituals, it's kind of like you almost do anything you want, but it's a lot of trying to figure out components and what goal you want to get out of it. So that's something that you'll want to think about too as we go.
Yeah.
I think that kind of covers what we had on the character sheet. So I don't know if anybody, and not anybody, I don't know if either Duke or Pat would wake up with a hangover, depending on if you actually drank the night away, like you said.
Pot never
But
does.
Manfred would not. Manfred wakes up with the truth and only the truth.
Invigorated with truth.
Yes. Had a good night's sleep and I cannot lie.
Pat would make sure he doesn't drink too much because he knows he has to prepare spells in the morning. So,
I'm still drunk.
Duke, you just fill up an extra flask before
Yeah.
you go.
I just tuck it in. Tuck it in the shirt bucket.
Phil, as the barkeep, also does run the kitchen. They could make sure that you guys have breakfast the next day, and set you up with essentially what you would have in your inventory now if you had taken like rations, dungeon rations, I think it's called. I can't remember for sure. But if you'd had those rations, that's what we're going to count this as. You're getting supplied by Phil, your friend at the tavern.
Nice.
He'll make sure that you have the food you need to get you off on your way.
Cool.
So,
See you later, Phil.
See ya. How do you guys want to approach the adventure? It's kind of everything's out in the open because there isn't anything else right now except a tavern and a volcano and some goblins who are now zomblins. But how you guys travel, completely up to you right now. Maybe you'll have horses, maybe you've got a wagon. Doesn't matter, doesn't care. You pick it, we'll make it happen. And you're about a day away from the volcano, regardless of what the travel is. If it's going to be walking, it's going to be a day. If it's going to be horseback, it's going to be a day on horse. So just to throw that out there.
What if we only have one horse?
You could use it as a pack animal. Keep all your gear on it. No one has to carry anything extra. I mean, however you guys want to handle that.
I mean, I'd prefer not to hoof it on my feet.
Okay.
It's just me.
I'd rather ride a horse if we could.
Yeah.
Look, I traveled a long distance from my night school college to be here. So
Cool. So you each have your own horse. Maybe you have a relationship with your horse. Chris might be a war horse or something from night school or something.
It works for me.
Yeah.
Mine is not my horse. I just found it.
It just found it.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And there's somebody out there right now saying, "Where the hell did my horse go?"
Peanut, where are you?
Peanut. All right, horse's name is Peanut. All right, so y'all all got your horses, and you head off towards the volcano. Is there any kind of preparation that anybody needs to do based on your character that you would want to do before we actually arrive at the site of the next thing that happens?
of my 2 spells, I would prep my 2 spells.
Okay. And you're going to go with the invisibility and magic missile?
Yeah.
Okay. And remember the cantrips, you've always got them.
Yep.
Right up until there's some kind of failure and you forget it for now, and then you just get it back when you prepare spells again. All right.
Okay.
Okay. And let's see. All right. We're going to say again, it's a day. So you get there in the morning, you probably stop, make a quick camp at night the next day. So first off, the volcano's been in sight the entire time. It's so big that you could see the peak of it a day away. It's not like you had to cross some vast amount of distance just to be able to find it. It's been in sight the entire time. You have noticed, though, during the day of travel heading towards it, because it's constantly in your line of sight, you have seen the smoke coming from the top, from Smoky Top, increasing. And it's ever so slight, but it is clearly increasing. Like it's not just steady. It is more and more each hour, but it's really like it's going from 1 to 2, but you can tell that it's actually changing.
Okay, and we're sure it's just not overdue to explode, right, Manfred?
Well, I checked with the local, I think they call them sciencers or something, and they said this is abnormal.
Okay, I just
So the question I have for you, and you shall not lie to me, Pot.
Yes,
Do you think
Manfred.
you can stop it? Do you have to stop it? Do we have to kill Thomas? Does that stop it?
If we stop him before he completes whatever he's doing, then we can stop it more than likely. But if it's done and he's just letting it go, there's nothing we can do about it. And
I don't think I'd said it. One of the key parts is he wants to control it. He wants that power. So he wants to like harness the power of the volcano, not just set it off because it goes off on its own every few years anyway. But he knows that it does that, and he knows the incredible power inside. So he wants to control that power, calling it the beast of the volcano.
my man, Fred, it's a concentration spell, so we have to stop it.
I'm thinking to myself very neutrally, it'd be cool if it went off. Oh, we should probably stop it.
Yeah. Maybe
I've never seen a volcano explode.
There's probably been plenty of paintings and stuff of it because Smoky Top, it being again a huge volcano and it does erupt regularly. There's probably paintings and bard's tales about it, and it's almost like background noise because it's common enough. Everyone knows it's going to explode. It's always going to spew some ash and always spit lava down the east side of the volcano, and the goblins are on the west side. And by the way, you guys are approaching from the west, headed to the east. So you're approaching the side where the goblins are, or were perhaps. And as you get close enough, you do start to see the remnants of goblin hamlets and small villages. You can see there was probably a group of goblins out here, what you might have associated as the suburbs or something outside of their main area. Just a couple of little huts with what is now a trampled little farmland, and the place has been either each of the little huts you see has either been slashed up or burned, and you do see bits of clothing and things laying around, but goblin wear, not necessarily anything fancy. But definitely a catastrophe happened here.
You do see a crimson robe. You let me know.
I put my hand up as we're approaching this, as we're getting close to the place.
Oh, so that was you. I thought that was Brimstone.
I want to use my trap expert to spend a moment surveying a dangerous area.
All right. So let's spend a moment surveying the area. Go ahead and make that roll for the trap expert.
Ooh. Wait a second. I forgot to add my pluses.
Yeah.
What is my plus dexterity?
5 plus that's dexterity, right?
Yep. Should be 7. That's actually a 7.
Okay. So a 7 will actually let you not straight up fail. So the way that one works, and I'll explain the hold. What it means is you've made the roll. Now you have some currency to spend. You get 1 because you had a 7 to 9. You can spend that 1 to answer any one of the 3 questions that are there. Now, if you had 3, you could ask all 3, or you could keep asking the same one at different times.
That
But
makes
you
sense.
have 1 that you can use now.
What else is hidden here?
Okay. So as you guys walk through, the sharp eye of the thief picks up on how the houses that were slashed, you're not finding any blood anywhere. And the houses that are burned are just, they're just down to the ground. It's ashes. You can tell that there were like posts in the ground holding up the hut. But it looks like the death of the whatever was here was probably done in a way that shed no blood, and that that there are creatures that can do that, and there's also magic that can do that. And it's very likely that whatever Thomas the Necromancer had enlisted to help him wipe out the goblins, it's very likely that that thing is still around.
Guys, this place don't sit right with me. So
Well,
none of this makes it. It doesn't look like humans or goblins did any of this.
Definitely looks funky. Now here's where we could, and anybody can do this, but you can look at the basic move of spout lore, which is essentially your character saying, I think I know what happened here, and this is what I think. And then we determine if you do know something, how did you know it? And, we give you that information. The other way to go about it is the discern realities, which is essentially, I don't know what's going on here. It's the opposite. So the first one, spout lore, that uses intelligence, is I know, and I'm going to tell you how I know it. And the other one is I don't know it. Could you tell me? So
Yeah.
you kind of figure it that way. And the discern realities works off of wisdom.
Yeah, I could try that one because my intelligence is in the shitter.
Yeah, both of those things are for me.
Well, at least I don't get a minus for wisdom, so
Mine is not. I have quite the brain.
Here's the other way to look at it too. The more often you fail, the more often you get experience, and therefore get to further moves by leveling up.
True.
So it's like, sometimes you just, if you want to actually play a character, for example, that's a know-it-all, give them a low intelligence and you'll level up faster, right? I know how this works. Let me tell you how this works. Fail, right? But it's not necessarily gaming the system so much as it is just playing a character that thinks they know it, and when they really don't.
They're just learning.
Exactly. So, Chris, you wanted to kind of examine what Duke has mentioned and see if you can figure anything out?
Yeah, I'll do discern realities.
So let's do that. Let's give the roll plus wisdom.
Whoa! Blammo,
Did I
10.
click that?
Nice.
Holy crappers. And did you have a +2 on that?
No, I'm straight, nothing, just neutral, nothing, no bonus.
Oh, so no, but it's still a 10. So even cooler. All right. So the clues that you're finding, Well, first off, do you want to? You have the 10 plus. So you can have 3 questions right from the list. Do you want to ask a specific thing, like what does it mean to have this 10 ripped up or whatever, or do you want to just pick from the list? Because I work either way.
Yeah, like what should I be on the lookout for?
Okay, so without being too obvious, you should be on the lookout for whatever caused the problem
Yeah.
here. The reason I say it is you are seeing on your examination of the area that the markings look really fresh. So where there was a slash in the leather covering of this hut, you can see that it is still fresh. There, you can still see that there's no dirt or anything in the cut. It hasn't sat there for weeks or months or whatever. Whatever happened here happened very recently, and it could possibly still be here. And you should be on the lookout for whatever caused that.
I feel like some of these are just kind of similar. Like for example, what happened here recently? Well, the thing got cut.
Well, I can embellish. If you already have something, I'll give you more info.
Yeah,
That's the way I
like,
see it.
I guess like what here is useful or valuable to me. Is there?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Your allies are here. Oh, you said useful.
When you're looking through some of the ashes of one of the burned huts, you actually see remnants of a crimson robe.
That's a
Hey,
mother.
Hey, Duke, come here, Duke. Should I show him? Do I show him? Of course I show him. He needs to know the truth.
What are you guys with? What the
Pop? Look what I found, Pop.
What the Fred?
The Fred. Yeah, it is definitely one of the robes. And you guys just last night, well, I guess a day and a half ago now, you were in the bar with these 3 guys in their, fancy crimson robes. This is one of those for sure. There's no question. It's the same texture. It's the same, like that weird velour or whatever. Where you rub it one way and it's shiny. You rub it the other way and it's flat. It's the same material. It looks like the
It
same.
doesn't
cut,
have any
probably the
gold
same
gilding
tailor.
on it, does it?
Say that again. Sorry.
No gilded gold piece on this one.
This one does not. What is possibly so there? I think 2 things that could be useful / valuable here. First off, you found it, and second, it's at the bottom of ash, and it is not at all burnt. It's not even scarred.
That's how you know it's a new Crimson Order robe. They don't
There you
burn.
go.
Yeah, I can't say the same for my dusty old robes.
You have one more question from your discern realities for Manfred, if you've got another idea of what you want to ask.
I'm kidding. These are stylish.
I mean, since like we kind of have an idea of something that might have done this, it's something I might know that has a weakness, or can I recognize? Oh, it must be this beast. I've only seen these markings before, something like that. What can you give me? Can you give me?
Okay, so let me treat that as what here is not what it appears to be, because I'm going to tell you something that it appears by all appearances and what you've seen so far that it was a beast. You are looking at this saying there is no claws that did this. This is definitely some form of construct, maybe, because there are no claw marks anywhere. There are no bestial footprints or monstrous footprints. All you see are essentially footprints left by goblins, and then really precise, like scalpel-like slashes in these huts.
Okay.
So it was not a natural beast that would have done this. Probably a construct of some type.
Look at these cuts. Precision. No animal could do this.
Only Imperial stormtroopers have this kind of precision.
The truth will be revealed to us soon.
Since my intelligence is a 16, I'm actually not going to say it, but what I would have wanted to say was, so we're looking for a giant flying knife that was just cutting through.
Yes. Well, as far, that's the kind of thing. This is, to me, Randy, this is where I say my emo nerdy wizard, which is what your tag says now, my emo nerdy wizard knows all about flying knives. I'm sure this is what did it. I'm going to spout some more. Because why not?
It's like the flying knives from the Shadow movie with Alec Baldwin.
I called Manfred the flying knife.
You definitely, Manfred, without a doubt, truth of the matter, this was some kind of most likely magical construct that came in and did away with the goblins, and somehow did it slashing, but you don't see blood spatter anywhere.
Have you ever heard of such magic there, Pot?
It sounds other than dealing with a necromancer and being necromancy to begin with, it's, I don't know, it's otherworldly in a way. Is there like a Feywild or something in this world?
You gonna spout some lore?
Okay, yeah, I'll use spout
You
lore.
even gotta ask.
starts
We're
as
creating it,
simple
right?
as-
We're
It
creating
starts
this.
as simple as when you consult your accumulated knowledge about something. That's it. What is your accumulated knowledge about? Is it about goblin death? Is it about village burning? Is it about magical constructs? What is the knowledge you're drawing on?
I've heard about tents and things being cut in this way, and people kind of leaving the way they did, in a lack of a more clever word.
Let's
there
roll
were-
plus intelligence. Spout some lore.
Roll plus intelligence. Let's go.
So when you do that,
Okay, so my intelligence is a +2, so that is a 9.
so you have a 9. So on a 7 to 9, I will tell you something interesting, but it's going to be on you to make it useful.
Okay.
Okay. So you remember a story probably about a year or so ago, Fred and you were drinking at a bar, and he was talking about how Thomas, as head of the Crimson Order, was coming up with new kinds of guards for the outside of the Crimson Order temple that wouldn't need to sleep and to just kind of be awake all the time. And the one problem he was still having with it was that sometimes they were kind of vampiric.
Weird. So he sort of made vampires in a way. Interesting. So I will.
Now, I
I will
kind of gave you the whole scenario,
Yeah.
but what was your conversation with Fred at the time that would have even brought that up? How did that come up?
I would have been asking him like what was new going on, because we were having problems with our guards constantly falling asleep, and so rogues kept on sneaking in and impersonating as the newbies, and I met this guy named Duke because I thought he was my understudy.
Oh man!
Because the
that's
guards
wild,
were always sleeping, so we stole some clothes. So I'm wondering if
Hey.
he knew a new situation about getting some, either a way to keep people up or a new security system.
Cool. So he had first tried inventing Red Bull, but that happened somewhere else. And then Crimson Minotaur was taken by some cool people.
Too
So
busy to die.
yeah, he ended up creating mechanical constructs that did not need to sleep. But yeah, he had a little bit of problem with them still. They never really quite made it out of beta. And it was shortly after that Thomas just kind of vanished.
For some reason, he put needles on them, and they kept on draining people's blood. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, they're all employed by the Red Cross now. They're doing great.
This is similar that they added scalpels now, so he's getting his whole doctor's monstrosities going.
Yeah, they once they find out your blood type, they keep hounding you. Typo negative.
Yes.
we need more typo negative. Other constructs need it now.
Yes,
Supply is
exactly.
low.
The
Wait, you're not evil, are you? We need neutral. Neutral type.
So as you guys approach closer, it's just more and more of the same. It just becomes larger and larger, to the tune of presuming none of you had visited, said Goblin Village, the tribe that has lived here for so long. Presuming you hadn't visited, you'd have heard about them, but you didn't realize there were so many. I mean, you're talking about hundreds of huts and small buildings, and they had their full tribe going here, and had to have been, thousands of goblins that lived here. And as you're walking through, it's just nothing. Ghost town, burned down huts and slashed up fabrics, and where you find wooden posts, they're either broken, but they look like they've been hit really hard with like an axe, but much sharper. It's really clean cut. Think of the videos you see of people properly using a samurai sword and cutting through stuff, and it's just that straight up cut, the katana kind of thing.
Mhm.
Like that, with 3-inch thick logs. So it's that's what you see as you go through, but it's utter devastation, not a single living thing around. What
You
are
know what's
guys doing
interesting
next?
about this pot? This was done recently. Like this was not just. So what? They kill the goblins and they come back later and burn the place down and just wreck it.
I wonder if while he's busy trying to control the volcano, he just turned his creations loose, like keep everything away. So a construct might not discern human from building and just destroy everything.
Do you think this cloak is Thomas's or is someone else's?
Well, Fred was telling me Thomas was building these kind of things.
It's not the cloak of the leader of the Crimson Order, though. It looks like rank and file. And actually, now that I'm saying that you guys have moved farther in, you find a couple more. Now that you have an idea of what you're looking for and where, Manfred, you find them. A couple other huts that have clearly been burned to the ground. Same idea, and it's only in the ones that have been burned, not the ones that have been cut.
Nothing underneath the cloaks or anything like that. They're just laying on the ground.
No, I mean a little bit of ash. So if it was being worn by someone at the time, they went away in ash, just like the building itself.
I see.
That's a big if. I'm not telling you that that's what happened yet or not, because nobody
Like magician suicide bombers.
They never quite figured out how to get the fireproof to go all the way around the body.
Yeah, it's only on the cloak itself. Just make the plane out of the black box.
Once something on fire lands on them or holds them, they're done for.
Yep. Stop dropping. Oh no.
Well, also, I get to hit him in the face 4 times now.
I've just been rummaging through things looking for stuff if I can find anything. So far no luck. Everything's just been burned up. No trace left behind so far.
Yeah. And here's where I say if you're looking to specifically to learn more, then it will trigger another discern realities roll, because that's what you'll be doing. And at that point we can make that roll, the roll plus wisdom, and then we can take it from there. But if you're looking for new info, like I was saying with the cloak, it's the same modus. It was the same burn building, same cloak. So easy enough to find because Manfred spent the time to even find that to begin with.
Okay.
So if you want to go ahead and do that, we can do that roll plus wisdom, and then we can play out another discern realities.
That's it.
Now, do you have a -1 on wisdom?
Nope.
Okay, good. Then you at least have the 7. So you're good there. So you can take one of those questions there. And Chris, also remember for Manfred, anything that you learn from the discern realities, if you're acting on it, you can take +1 on the next roll for it too.
Okay, cool.
What is about to happen?
Okay. So here's where I'll say, like, once you ask me the question, I'll kick something into gear. Off in the distance, towards the volcano, you see something metallic glinting off of the setting sun. The sun is setting behind you, and you move to the side a little, and when your shadow moves away and the sun hits something in the distance, I'm talking like 100 yards or so maybe, you see glinting of metal off of something. And that's something you have not seen yet in the Goblin Village.
All right. I think we better prepare ourselves. There's something up ahead.
If we move fast enough, we could catch up to it.
All right. You take lead.
All right, I go running out. I go charging after it.
Okay. Remember, you guys have the horses, so you can either just ride towards it.
Why are you running your horses over here?
Or you bring your horse with you. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no, I got the war horse full speed ahead.
Yeah,
I mean, you can run 50 feet faster than you can mount a horse and ride 50 feet.
That's right. Tally ho, lads.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, you head forward, and as soon as you're up there and you see what Duke has indicated, you realize it is actually coming towards you, and it does look like a ball that has shiny blades kind of sticking out in a lot of different directions, and it's just kind of rolling towards you. I hate to use this reference, but think of the way like BB-8 rolls from Star Trek, where the head
Oh,
stays on the top, but the body rolls the whole time.
Yeah.
Think of there's like knives, blades along the top that stay stationary while it's rolling towards you.
Okay.
Like, did you guys ever see that movie Critters?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like that, except with knives.
With knives. That's a knife. Yeah, so what do? It's coming right towards you, and it is in size. The ball itself, think about 6 feet tall, so
Pretty big
it's kind of
ball.
a big ball. And then the blades on it each stretch out from it anywhere from about a half a foot to about 3 feet.
Okay.
Hello, friend.
I'm
I
charging
greet
into
it
attack.
warmly.
I'm charging into attack.
How do they stop these things again? Deactivate. Stop. Crimson. Stop.
So we'll have
Halt!
Crimson sign means stop.
we'll have Pat shouting passwords while Manfred goes to hack it manually.
Yes.
Are you sword and board?
I'm doing the physical pen test. You guys do the other stuff.
Yeah, so that's a good point, Zeb. Chris, can you describe how is Manfred armed and armored? Like, what
He
does
has
he look like?
scale mail and a shield and a long sword, so he's riding like a knight, but he's got the sword
Yep.
swinging.
So, like Zeb mentioned, sword and board, that old stereotypical look of you're a
yeah.
knight in metal armor with the sword and the shield. Is there an emblem on the shield, like the big T for truth or something?
Yeah, it could be a. Oh man, I want it to be like the 3 fingers of like a Boy Scout with the whole thing about being trustworthy and all that.
Oh yeah, cool.
So it's like
Yeah.
a hand with 3 fingers up.
Or like
yeah.
the monster logo. It has 3 things on
It does it. I don't know.
What I was thinking too is you could just write the word lie and then put the no symbol over it. This is no lie.
No lies.
All right, so you're there. So you are charging on horseback, so you just plan on going up and like swinging. Like, describe
totally.
what your attack would be.
That's totally like I'm jousting but with a sword basically. So it's total hack and slash maneuver.
Okay, so we are going to treat this as a hack and slash, since you are charging at something that is charging towards you as well and has blades. We'll see what happens based on your roll. So
Go
for the hack
flying
and
blade.
slash,
Go.
All right.
you're going to do a roll plus strength.
Yep. Roll plus strength. Here we go. 8.
Oh, you put the +1 there? Cool. All right.
Yep.
So with an 8, so first off, where was it? On a 7 and 9, you deal your damage to the enemy. So if you want to go ahead and roll your damage, I don't remember what the damage die is for Paladin.
It's a D10.
All right, so let's roll that D10.
Do you do? Is strength involved in that for damage or no?
No, it'll be that.
My sword is.
Yeah.
So +1 for sure. I think it's just the sword is the +1
exactly.
damage. All right. So
because your damage die is the same no matter what your strength is.
Yeah.
You don't lose anything if you put a poor strength down.
Ooh, 9 points.
Nice.
9 points
Good
damage.
solid hit.
Okay. So with that, what's going to happen is your swing will hit. But at the same time, with all of these blades, you can't avoid one of them kind of catching you as well.
Right.
So if you can do let's see, because of all the different blades, let's do a D4. If you can roll a D4, we'll have you take that damage.
All right.
4.
4, but I have 3 armor because my armor and my shield, so I only take 1 point.
Nice. Okay. So you get in there with your blade. And when you hit, you actually knock half of the blades off of the head of the thing.
All right.
As it's spinning, one of the blades does catch you in the leg as it goes by and doesn't do much. Like you said, your armor absorbs most of it, but you're probably going to have a little cut right there where the armor joins near the knee. And the thing goes.
Well, that's a fact.
So the thing goes right by you. Duke and Pat, you can see that it has the Paladin definitely took a swipe at it and knocked half of the blades off the top. When you see those blades hit the ground, as soon as they hit the ground, they just crumble into a dust. But the creature itself, this blade ball construct,
Beyblade.
it continues rolling past past Manfred towards the other two of you. What do you do?
All right, you go right. I'm going left.
All right, yeah,
So
we'll diverge.
I pull my horse left, and then
Immediately, Duke
yes, the
hides
old Patty
and
Duke maneuver.
Pat goes invisible.
Yeah. I'm doing that thing where I'm riding on the side of the horse, but you can't see me at all.
Nice. Yeah. So it is good. It is coming at you guys. If you are choosing to split, I'm going to pick one of you that it attacks. If one of you is actually approaching it, then it will be that one. Are you splitting? How so?
So Manfred went straight at it, and I'm going to
Yeah.
go kind of at an angle. So still towards it, but like away at the same time, and preparing to fire some magic missile out of the front of my
So
staff.
you're seeking to avoid direct contact. Duke, are you seeking to avoid direct contact as well?
While I'm turning to the right, I am readying my throwing daggers.
Okay. So kind of both the same. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the person that's not directly involved now. So Chris, roll me any die on an even number. The ball will approach Duke, and on an odd number, it will approach Pat.
All right, I want to do a 20 because we never get to roll 20s for Dungeon World usually. So here we go.
exactly.
Yeah, break the rule.
I hit it. Did it do anything?
Odd number. Here you go, Pat.
Okay, so
the ball, it has made its choice as you guys split up. You did a good move by splitting up because it can't hit both of you. However, it has decided to roll towards its right. I think is the right way to say this because I think you went left. So it's rolling towards its right. And it looks like it has kind of morphed the blades that are on top of it. Whereas when you first saw it, it probably had 10 or so different blades on it. And then Manfred went by and just when a huge swipe just knocked more than half of them off. The other blades look like, while it's approaching you, it looks like they're reassembling into one large blade that it's kind of like piercing, like a lance, like it's coming at you like that, direct on. What do you do?
Okay, I'd like to use Defy Danger. If I could, I'd like to steer the horse a little further to the left while I kick off of it so it'll come after me and not hit the horse. So I'm trying to like tuck and roll.
To use for that. Because that sounds to me like either strength or dexterity, if that's how you're approaching it.
Probably dexterity. I'm trying to just like get out of the way and at least get the horse out of the way if I can.
Okay. So let's go for that. Let's do a Defy Danger plus dexterity.
Can I also the aid or interfere thing? Can I do that at any point?
Okay, it's a flat roll.
Yeah. At any point, if you want to help or hinder someone that you have a bond with, in this case, you would be helping Pat not get hit somehow. You have to describe how you're going to do it, and then we make that roll.
That's okay. He rolled a 7. He's fine.
But
there's
do you have any bonus with that, Randy?
It's flat. It's flat? Okay. 0.
So Dex. Aid wouldn't make a difference then.
Yeah.
Because my good thing I didn't use strength because that's -1, so I would have been a 6 if that was strength. So with a 7 to 9, it says I either stumble, hesitate, or flinch. The GM will offer the worst outcome, hard bargain, or ugly choice.
Yeah, I will.
So I think that means you tell me what happened to me.
What happens is you get out of the way. All right, you manage to get out of the way, and when that happens, the blade ball severs the saddle strap on your horse. The saddle comes off, and your horse bolts off into the distance, and you are on the ground with your foot still stuck in the stirrup.
Spot's never gonna find his way home. We're nowhere near the house. The dorm room.
You might be able to retrieve it later if you have any kind of bond with your horse. and I don't mean like bond as in on your character sheet, but as in your character has.
What kind of secret are you hiding from me, Spot? Tell me.
Yeah, exactly.
Why don't I ever find a druid to play with?
my horse never talks to me anymore. So that happens there, and the ball appears to still have to obey some kind of physics and kinetic energy. It does not just stop, turn, and approach you. It starts to make a wide circle to come back because now it's kind of overshot everybody, and it's starting to make a wide circle to come back. So we'll turn the camera back to see what Manfred's up to after he made his first swipe. I'm guessing he's probably turning around.
Yep, turning around and full blast again.
Real quick, you need to know that one time the horse did try to talk to me, but it was losing its voice. It sounded a little hoarse.
Hey, ayo.
Yay!
Sorry.
It's floating around. Oh my! I was waiting for some kind of Mr. Ed peanut butter joke, but that was just as good. Thank you. So we switch over to that view. That camera zooms in, and we get that quick smash cut of Manfred doing like a drifting turn on the horse to get
That's
it back
right, yeah.
around.
Slow motion.
Yep.
And it speeds up.
And Blade Ball is now rolling back in that direction. However, because it's been paying attention to other stuff right now, Manfred, you choose what goes on next.
I am doing another hack and slash.
And at this point, too, for Duke, in the background of this scene, Duke is on his horse right towards the back, and you can see that Duke has reached for those throwing daggers, and we'll see what happens with those right after we see what Manfred's up to.
All right, hack and slash again. Another jousting charge with the long sword.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Yes.
Oh my gosh! Super successful. So now in a hack and slash on a 10+, you deal your damage to the enemy and avoid their attack. Now, if you choose, you could even do extra damage. Now, what I'll say, Manfred, being a warrior, knows that his first attack, if he does the same kind of thing again, he doesn't need to do any extra. He's pretty sure that this is going to put the thing down, or at least get rid of all the blades and render it a lot less harmful.
Maybe not. Maybe I will take the.
Three. All right, so 3 damage now.
Total of 12.
Here's what I'll tell you: that one blade that it had assembled that it was using to try and pierce through the wizard was still the same blade. So when it came at you, still the same blade. You are able to chop that off, and now the ball, for lack of a better term, it just looks confused. It's kind of
do the extra damage.
It's kind of. Do you want? You let me finish describing it, and then you decide if you want to do any more.
Okay.
It almost stops in place and kind of wobbles back and forth, and the head on top of it moves a little bit one way or another, and it looks like the metal on top is almost like liquid and bubbling. I've avoided the reference, but think Terminator 2.
Yeah.
You know, the metal Terminator where it just reassembles. It looks like it's trying to reassemble something, but you've cut off enough of it, and when it fell to the ground, unlike the Terminator reference, it didn't turn into like metal. It just turned to dust. It hit the ground and poof, like this was made out of dust kind of thing. It's clearly a construct as had been previously guessed.
That is weird.
So it looks like it's struggling. It is not attacking. It's trying to figure out how without its weapons, I guess. That's the appearance
I'll hold off
you get.
then. Yeah. I'll look over at Pot.
And so, Duke, you're right there when that happens. You see what just happened. You still want to toss a dagger at it or not? Because you're ready for it. And you could still hit it and still do damage to it. And you might even be able to put it out of commission. Or do you want to see if there's any, I don't know, maybe the wizard can question the robot? Who knows?
I don't think it talks.
I'm going to ready the daggers, but I'm turning Peanut around to head back towards Manfred, and I don't take any action as I'm riding towards him.
Okay. So Pat, you see the 3 of them now. So the blade ball, the thief and the paladin are near it and kind of trying to figure out what's going on. You're unfortunately found yourself on the ground with your saddle and get your foot out of the stirrup. They're over there, maybe 50 feet away. What are you doing?
How far does magic missile go again?
As far as you want. I'm going to say as long as you can see the target, you can cast a magic missile at it.
Magic missile only goes 49 feet. So no. All right. I'm going to dust myself off, frown at the saddle, aim my wand that has been glowing now for the last 6 seconds, and release the magic missile. Now I need to roll. Let's see. I believe
you do need to cast a spell. So this is the first time that the wizard will cast a spell. If you wouldn't mind, just read "cast a spell" so we can see what that move does.
Cast a spell says, once I get to that page, when you release a spell you prepared, roll plus intelligence. On a 10+, the spell is successfully cast, and you do not forget the spell. You may cast it again later. On a 7 to 9, the spell is cast, but choose one of the following effects. And of course, probably 6 and below, it doesn't work whatsoever. So we're
I
shooting
think
to
on that one I still get to pick the fail. Yeah.
So you can hit.
So
Guess.
roll plus
You got plus two,
intelligence.
right?
Yeah. Oops, not minus. Hold on. What's going on? Oh, okay. I see what I'm doing
I
here.
don't know.
All right. I'm trying to
You'll
figure that
figure
out.
it out.
There's plus and minuses there too. So go.
Oh
Oh
my
my
gosh.
god. Super
Randy with
crit.
the super success. In Dungeon World, technically there is no critical, neither is there a critical failure, but it is really cool when you roll both 6s, and it's really bad when you roll both 1s. And I say that because pretty much your best bonus in the game is a +3, so 2 1s just still doesn't even get you to 6, and it's almost always a failure. Now, 2 6s is just about always a success because you don't have many things that give you a -3. All that said, because it's 2 6s, I usually do something a little more. So, Randy, when you cast it, I'll give you the choice. You can either do all the damage without having to roll it, just maximum damage, or were you going for any specific effect by casting Magic Missile?
No real specific effect. I was kind of wanting to do some flavor text about it though. With that max roll, I was going to say all the little missiles for some reason got kind of locked, and they all formed one giant magic missile that just plowed into it. And so I guess I'd take max damage though. Just
go for it.
do the
And how much is that?
magic missile is, I believe, 2d4. Let's see. Yeah, projectiles of pure magic spring from your fingers deals 2d4 damage to one target.
Okay. So in this case, that means it'll do the 8.
Yeah.
When the magic missile hits, what's the energy like? Does it take a certain shape when it hits something? Does it like penetrate it? Does it splash against it? Are there little sparkles? I mean, what's it look like?
It just kind of strikes it and then just kind of, let's just say, makes like a firework boom, like, and just then dissolves with some snaps.
What color is that magical force?
Let's just give it a goldish white.
Okay. So the like a pale gold, essentially, right?
Yeah. So like this
Goldish
bluish white swirly little missiles hit and then blow up into this golden white explosion with little snaps afterwards.
And when that happens, it breaks the part of the ball that it hit, and at that moment, just a bunch of blood pours out of it.
Oh,
like
God.
This 6-foot round sphere had been sucking blood for a while, and you just broke it.
Typo negative.
Type goblin positive.
5 more balls rise up because they sense the blood. This is out of our element, boys.
Blade blood balls. Yes. Wow. So what now? What
Is this thing dead now?
We loot the body.
it has been decommissioned would be the best way to put it. It is no longer active.
I'd like to poke around the head part and see if it seems to be organic, or if it seems to be electronically made, or if it was like brought together by a spell of some sort. What was giving this thing life? It seems
is definitely magical. Aside from that, we'd be spouting some lore. We know we kind of know it's magical already because I revealed earlier it was a magical construct with part of what you guys are doing. But if you want to know more about what makes this thing tick, or what made it tick, that would be a spout lore, I would say, from your perspective, Randy.
Does detect magic do? I'm trying to see. One of your senses is briefly attuned to magic. It just tells you where there's magic at. Okay, I didn't know if it told me what type of magic or what was going on. So
in this case, what I would say is if you wanted to find out where the magic came from that powered this, if it was within range of your spell, you might be able to find it. And that kind of usage would work. But otherwise, this thing is magical, or maybe it was powered by magic
And blood.
and blood. Yeah, it gathered that. So while you're taking the time to study it, the parts where the blood has leaked out start to turn to dust, like the parts that Manfred had cut off. Okay. So when a part like dries up, essentially, or is no longer in contact with it, it starts to turn to dust. It's not as rapid as when the blades were cut, they touched the ground and poof, they were dust. This is a little more gradual.
Okay. So I guess
So
I
you
could
have
just
limited time to study it.
I guess I'll use spout lore then. Just see
So
if I can
what
give you.
is your accumulated knowledge of? Is it about constructs or blood or metal or magic or all of the above? Construct, blood, metal, magic.
Magic and construct is
Blood metal is a new form of music for this realm.
Yeah.
They were death metal, and they're like, we don't need to die. Let's just bleed. Let's do blood metal instead.
yeah,
Duke is an avid listener.
usually
got
Chris's
time to
characters would wear blood metal.
I got time to bleed.
Let's see. Tell you something interesting, useful about the subject relevant to your situation.
You get to roll plus intelligence, and I get to give you the info. So you're
Yeah.
telling me where your knowledge comes from. Essentially, like what book did you read it out of? What experience brought you here? Or like I said, maybe you studied magical constructs once upon a time. Where are you drawing from for the information I'm going to give you?
Okay, so in my gear, I am carrying a bag of books, which has 5 uses. So I assume that's 5 books. I don't know if that's for like spells or whatnot, but
it's more of like when we say uses, it is you're pulling something out of it that is useful, and it doesn't have to be a book. This is, for me, it's kind of funny. Someone else came up with this example, and I liked it. Let's use this situation as part of that example. I just happen to have a brochure in here in my bag of books. There's a brochure from this construct company that wanted to build me a magical construct before, so it probably has some information about it. I pull out the brochure and use that as my +1 for spout lore.
okay, so I like to think that I got these 5 different books that have different facts about different kinds of things, like construct and blood and all that. And with let's just say Feywild magic and necromancy and just one other, I guess, blood. And so I'm going to use I'm going to roll for spout lore, and I'm going to use one of the uses of the books on let's just say the constructs and see what information I can dig at. And what happens with the usage is when I finally learn something, it disappears from the book because I learned it. So I flip the book to go and see if there's anything that resembles sort of like the way that this is constructed. This construct is, and I find it, and it tells me that. What does it tell me,
you? Yeah, so the information the book gives you is based on this design. It needs to be powered by something, and from what your experience tells you, as well as your remembrance of your conversation with Thomas, or with Fred about Thomas, that when he said he was making constructs, obviously he was trying to power them with something, and he ended up powering them with blood. And the only way that they were going to operate is if they had a steady supply of blood. For whatever reason, that was something that worked for the constructs he made. Maybe it's because of their intended purpose was to kill instead of just protect like originally. And you get all this because of the 10+. I'm just going to give you a lot more exposition to help make this happen. And that, if it runs out of fuel, it will deconstruct itself into whatever it was created from. And in this case, it's created from the dust. So the right amount of magic, dust, and blood can make this thing happen.
I let my party know. So
you feel like at this point, Pat, you have an idea of a better way to dismantle one next time you encounter one. You get to decide what that is, but you got a good idea that you probably don't need to hack at it with swords to make it die next time.
Thomas asked if he could. He never asked if he should.
Ah.
Yeah, I hope you're enjoying those books I stole from your night school.
Hey, was that one by Victor Frankenstein?
I'm telling you, you could have just held an intimidating look and a blade, and they would have given it to you. You gotta learn this one day. Use your fear. You are a scary individual.
Ain't that the truth?
Who, me?
I had to throw that in there somehow.
Duke with his thievery. You're scary because if someone lies to you, you pound them into the ground.
I mean, Duke's got that mangled hand. That's pretty scary.
And then we can use that dust to go and fill it full of blood and make a ball with blades. No, wait, that's Thomas. Sorry.
So in the time that you spend kind of studying the thing and accumulating that info, it eventually decomposes almost entirely. There's like a pool of blood on the ground with the little bits of metal in it, essentially. And once the metal is no longer touching the blood in some way, it will no longer be powered, and it will also die off. So you've now found at least what would appear to be the thing that is both killing and draining the blood from the goblins. How it's doing it, magic, of course.
So I'm going to go and put my saddle back on Spot once I call him back over to me, and I'm going to go to like the where they're getting water from and a few buckets and put some water into it. This will come in handy later. I'm pretty sure. I know what's going on now.
Okay. So there are because the goblin tribe has had this village and this establishment for so long, they have both wells that you could get water from, and there are streams that run nearby, and you would pass at least one thing before you got towards the volcano.
I put a bucket on both sides of each of their horses as well.
Okay.
If it gets close, splash it with this. I'm pretty sure that its real weakness is what it's made out of. So if the rest are made out of sand or dust, the water will separate it like it's still dust.
Well, if the goblins had just thrown water at them, but you never think of that.
Nope.
Also,
that sounds strange, but Pot, I trust you completely.
I heard that when Fred was having them watch outside, he never had them watch during a storm. So
that's a good point. They never made it to production because they had a few too many flaws, and I guess one of them may have been that water affects them. Cool.
Yep.
I'm making sure I have this note because you're going to see at least one of these again, I'm sure.
Speculated theory is that if it's made out of flesh, then just cut it because, well, flesh can't survive a blade. If it's made out of dust or sand or whatever, go for some water.
Hey, give it some cleaning fluid or something. Spray some Clorox at it, whatever.
If it's made out of cake, get a fork.
Oh, yeah. Cake balls.
Cake.
Have you had blood cake yet?
Everything's cake.
Red velvet cake. That's what that is, man.
Crimson cloak cake.
Yeah. So you guys get through that area now. So you're past Blade Ball. You've killed Blade Ball. And the
Blade Ball. That's the episode name right there.
You've killed Blade Ball.
Blade Ball.
You reach pretty much what would be the center of the largest conglomerate of buildings. So it would have been most likely village central for the goblins. Practically streets on each side, wide enough for small carts and what have you to get through. At the center still stands a stone statue of a goblin, life size, so it's only about 4 feet tall, and it is does anybody read Goblin, or does anybody speak a different language? Now, this is something that's not on your character sheet. This is something that you would have to justify for your character.
I mean, with my -1 on the intelligence, I'm thinking no.
I do not have a book on languages. That would have been the one next to the last one that Duke stole.
I know Goblin.
There you go. So, yeah. Duke, you can see the plaque on there. It's in Goblin. Roughly translated to the more common tongue would be, this guy killed everyone. He was our first leader.
Stand-up guy.
This statue is like, he's the leader because he killed everyone kind of thing. And that is still, it's like the only thing standing completely. There are little bits of things here and there, like the main well in the downtown area. There's still some rocks and bricks and what have you. The covering of the well has been busted down, cut down, but this statue is the only thing like entirely intact. How does that strike you guys?
It seems interesting that maybe even though they're undead, they still have some shred of humanity or goblimanity. They still remember their leader.
Interesting. Okay.
That is a very astute. Good one, Duke.
Well,
That's what you get for spending an eighth of a semester at the Wizard College.
Just long enough to steal some books and then sell them to you.
Hey, I got the Staff of Light and Stick of Explosion from there too.
Damn right. And did you say, Zeb, the Staff of Light is essentially a candle?
Yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
candle and a stick of dynamite.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay. So well, how's Manfred handling what's going on at this point? How's he feel about the ongoings of the day?
He wants to get this necromancer and stop him before this volcano goes off uncontrollably.
Hey,
He's
Chris, your
extremely
video isn't
angry.
moving, just so you know.
Yeah, everything like froze up on me a little bit ago, but it's like I can see everybody now.
Okay, you're moving a little. You're fuzzy now, pixelated, but you're there. Okay.
Yeah, your camera's a potato and has been for like 10 minutes now, unfortunately.
A potato.
Yeah, like you filmed it on your potato.
That's weird.
You guys aren't that old. Come on, you haven't heard that reference before?
No.
Zeb knows what I'm talking about.
Yo,
Damn it. I'm that old, apparently, for sure.
I have no idea what's going
Because
on.
potatoes are something I eat, preferably cut
yeah.
and fried.
Yes, that sounds great.
it's the same as just saying like, what your first computer was a rock kind of thing. Like,
Pretty much.
Oh, that's true.
Don't tap
Mine
it.
was.
Yeah.
I was
Or,
coding in chisel at the time.
An
Yeah.
old bad car is a lemon. Well, if you buy it, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so
All food aside.
we no, don't do that. But we have so you guys are half of the way, let's say, from the time you first encountered remnants of goblin civilization. You're half the way towards the volcano. Now you are at the base of the volcano. From here, the goblin conglomerate of buildings, what have you, it starts to go up the side of the volcano. So right at the base is really the main center area of what was the goblin establishment. As you go farther towards the volcano, again, it starts to go up, and the ground is getting warmer. You can actually feel some warmth. It's nice. It's not like hot and unpleasant, but it's there's a warmth that you know that you're next to an active volcano. What are you guys doing next?
I'm still, checking buildings every so often, trying to see if there's anything else. Is the extent of the damage the same as it was on the outskirts?
That's a good question. What I'd like you to do is let's give another discern reality roll, please.
All right, let's do it. What is that based
Roll
off of?
plus wisdom.
Wisdom. All right.
Yeah. Basic move, roll plus wisdom, discern realities, and let's see what you get.
A 7.
7. So you get to ask one question again, and you will get new information, kind of like you did last time. Even though it was based on something you already knew, you'll have new information.
Can I follow him and use detect magic in the rooms that he enters?
Definitely. You said it's a cantrip for you too. The thing is, though, Randy, each time you want to use it to effect, it is a roll to cast a spell. Even though it's a cantrip, you still have to cast the spell because you're tapping into the magical energies. You have a chance of disturbing them each time you do it.
Okay.
I ask what here is useful or valuable to me.
All right. And Randy, do you want Pat to at least cast it once? Because I can kind of combine these things if you want to do that.
Yeah, I can. You want me to cast that first, you said?
Yeah, go ahead and cast it. And depending on your role, it will help me determine how to answer Zeb's question for Duke about what was it? What's not what appears to be?
No, what is useful or valuable?
Useful or valuable. Sorry. Yep.
Okay. So with a +2, it's 11 for the detect magic.
Whoa.
Okay. So what's happening is Duke is looking through one of these huts that's just been slashed up, not one of the burned ones, one of the ones that's been slashed up, kind of looking through it. And Pat, you see, just as Duke is kind of, poking through stuff, I don't know, Duke, what would Duke be doing here? Like poking at it with a dagger, a sword, or is he like putting his hands right and stuff?
Be moving stuff around my boot.
Okay. So as he's kicking stuff around, Pat, you see one of the things that he kicks from the ground is just glowing with magical energy, and it rolls over to the side. And when you see that happen, Zeb, what Duke notices is the thing you just kicked to the side that looked like it was maybe a broken table leg rolls back over to your foot and wraps itself around your ankle. And Pat sees this, and Pat, you're like, That's magic right there.
That's if you couldn't tell, it's not a snake. It's magical.
Yeah,
I lost the voice for a second.
I stumble, and I fall onto my back out of the tent, and I'm punching it over and over again, trying to
Okay.
get it off of me.
Okay.
So I'm going to take a closer look.
It doesn't have a particularly hard grasp. It would be definitely something, especially the way you described it, something that definitely surprised you, unexpected.
Yeah.
You found it. And when you're hitting it, it feels almost like, for lack of a better reference, like punching a mouse pad, that like neoprene rubber kind of feel. It has that feel, like maybe you're hitting a sausage in a wetsuit.
I scream for Pat like he's my dad. I'm like, Pat! Help!
I'm right here. I'm looking at it.
Yeah,
so I go to like see what it is, like investigating first with my eyes, but then slowly move my hands towards it and like trying to figure out what it is.
Can I try to like help Duke get it off him, like try to pry my sword in there or something? Or
if Duke is so Zeb, is Duke actually trying to pry it off?
Yeah, well, I was punching at it. I'm trying to get it off.
Well, that's the thing. If you're just hitting it, then it's going to stay there and stay hit. But if you're actually trying to pry it, it doesn't take too much effort to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Pat would have tried to
hitting it. While you're hitting it, Manfred comes up with his sword, and Manfred, as soon as you get the sword under the edge, it just moves almost easily. It's like a loose clamp, so to speak.
It just made me think of that. Like, let me try and get it out with this other knife.
Keep going. So Pat, you go look at it, and your examination of it is I'm going to trigger a spout lore on here because you're going to have some knowledge about this type of thing, and it's going to be magical based knowledge.
Okay.
So I don't need you to tell me what the knowledge is at this point because this is the way I'm going to play it for this one. But I do want you to roll for a spout lore plus intelligence.
I'd prefer if you don't put blades near my hands anymore, please, while I'm trying to remove something. Hot dice today.
10. Nice, Randy. That's a full-on success. So what you know about this, and you'll tell me how you know it. This is a familiar to a magician. This is a conduit for magical energies that is controlled by a magical creature.
So what shape has it taken? Just like a snake, or?
It looked like, based on what you could tell with your detect magic, it actually looked like a broken table leg when you saw Duke kick it. And then it just kind of morphed into a tube. You know what I've got in my head right now, because this is going to work? Pool noodle. It's a flexible pool noodle. Okay. It's alive. And because that would be the texture of it too, the way I was describing it. So it's like a pool noodle, but maybe half length of a regular pool noodle. That is the shape it is currently in. But it was a table leg, so it can clearly shift shape at least a little.
Yes, it's a bit like it's a familiar. Are you familiar with that?
And I think between you guys, it's up to you, Zeb, Chris. If you are familiar with the concept, it's up to you if your character is or isn't, and play it however you want.
I would like to ask, what here is evil?
Okay. Are you going to do it in the name of truth or anything like that? I'm just curious.
Yeah, totally. I want to know the truth of this thing. Is it evil?
Okay. When you do that, I've got to answer you honestly, so I'm going to answer you with more detail than I should because I got to answer you honestly. It's evil, but it doesn't want to be.
I sense this thing does not.
Jessica Rabbit. It's just drawn that way.
Yeah, right.
Right?
I'm not like you, Dad. I want to do my own thing.
So it's like, let's again. I'll give you more exposition because Pat had the great role. Manfred just gets to ask this because that's the Paladin. It was created by something evil and forced to serve evil, but never wanted to. As soon as it was created, it realized this isn't good, but it couldn't do anything about it. And now its master is gone.
Pot, we must free this wretched, corrupted creature from its master. Keep slipping into pot.
Would I know whether or not it can have a new master, or if it's simply because the magic that it was made out of, it's kind of stuck. As
Does Pat know about these kind of things?
Spout lore.
bear with me a second, I'm going to pull out one of my books on magic and look up the familiar section and read that it says.
So now the I think you know this already, but the whole point of the book is just to get a bonus on your roll.
Yeah.
Right. That's why it's used up, because you get a bonus on the roll. So you can do it without that, of course, and not use up the book or use it. But I just want to make sure you got that.
Okay,
He
what
wants
would
to
you like,
get that 15 roll. That's what he's looking for.
what would you like me to add to the standard roll? Intelligence, or is this
it
another
is
spout lore?
Spout
Okay.
lore is intelligence. This is going to be a spout lore roll.
Okay, and so using the book is a plus 1 as, or the
I'm
book
pretty
itself
sure
is
that's what it says, right?
bag of books. I'll have to go back to that. Hold on. Okay, I gotta go down to the wizard again. Sorry, guys, bear with me. Okay, it says bag of books, 5 uses, 2 weight, and then you can choose 3 healing potions that go with that as well. So it doesn't say in the gear; it just says bag of books, 5 uses.
You know what? That was on my other sheet. So the way we're going to treat it is, whenever you use one of those books, one of those uses, it's a +1 to your spout lore.
Okay,
And
so
I'm pretty sure I have that in one of these
then
physical
I'm
sheets I have.
plus 3 for the roll. Then, so I'll go for it. It's a terrible roll. 7 just made it.
Oof.
Glad I used the book. Okay. So as far as what you know here, let me just see, do I have that book? All right, I'm not gonna bother. I'll look after. This familiar is no longer attached to a magic user. So it is kind of on its own and is lost and doesn't know what to do.
Manfred, remember when that puppy followed you home?
I will use my lay hands on it. This wretched soul is in need, and I must help them.
It's
Ooh.
okay.
Read out lay hands. Lay on hands, I should say.
Yes, lay on hands.
Lay hands.
When you touch someone, skin to skin, and pray for their well-being. Roll charisma plus on a 10 plus, you heal 1d8 damage or remove a disease. At a 7 to 9, they're healed, but then the damage or disease is transferred to me.
This could be fun. The adherence to an evil magician may transfer to you.
It's cool.
Duke, you ready for the real boss fight?
Does anyone want to help me? What do you want to help me out here?
Let's see.
Yeah, y'all definitely welcome to attempt to aid,
Yeah.
presuming you don't want to interfere.
So I
Just
don't have
aid part.
don't have any.
I mean, technically, Potts could, he could help me out with like, hey, it's this kind of thing. Maybe talk to it this way. Because
I mean, he's the one feeding you some of the information.
Yeah, my voice transcends all languages.
Yeah, so I will definitely aid.
Make it so.
Trying to see. I keep on losing everything. Basic moves. Where is
So
aid?
you
There it
You
is.
have one bond, if I remember right. You have
Yes,
one bond.
one bond.
With, yep. And because this was our first session, I'm going to keep with that initial freebie. So you're going to get the initial freebie plus the one bond. So you'll have a +2 to your roll.
Okay, so +2 then. Okay, thank you, buddy.
Yeah, because if we had more time to establish characters ahead of time, you could have just made 2 bonds with that
So
person.
9, so not a 10, but still successful.
Hey, that gives me the plus. That gives me the +1, right?
Exactly. It gives the +1. The
I'm up to +3 now. Let's see if I can pull it off. Or
the only downside there is on a 7 to 9. Pat is now exposed to possible danger, and we'll see how that works out based on the roll here.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm sorry,
Nice.
I'm not helping, guys. I'm just scared of that thing and crawled up.
It's still wrapped around your leg. It's just not causing any damage.
Well,
Probably
no,
a lot of
I got it off with my sword already.
You were not expecting anything alive here, especially anything to grab your legs. So it's understandable.
Right, 11.
So when you lay on hands, what happens? Well, what were the words you wanted to use again? Just a curiosity. See if I can play into it.
Free it from
seek your truth.
Nice. Okay. The thing is the color of a dark wood, like a cherry wood or something like that. And as soon as you lay your hands on it, it lightens to like a pale oak, maybe a much lighter thing, and you immediately get the impression, if nothing else, that you shifted it out of evil alignment. So your laying on hands has stopped this thing from any evil tendencies that it had, and it on its own, it kind of reassembles into what looks like again, think the total volume is about half the size of a pool noodle. So the thing can rearrange itself into maybe like a small chihuahua sized thing. And that's what I'm thinking of. It's a small 4-legged thing, but it doesn't have a head. It just has like 2 eyes on one side. And it's just sitting there looking lost and like a lost little puppy.
Show us the way to the necromancer's lair.
And it understands you.
Yeah. Transcends language. Yeah.
As soon as you say that, it turns and points towards the end of the episode.
All right. Right
on time. Towards the volcano, which leads us towards there. And what I do want to do here is let's take a couple of minutes and go through the end of session, just so we can cover that rule that I had mentioned earlier. And the way this one works is, I'll read it out. It's when you reach the end of a session, and in this case, session really does mean what I'm talking about here. We got together today. At the end of that get together, the session, we go through this. But you choose one of your bonds that you feel is either resolved, completely explored, no longer relevant, or otherwise. And you talk to the other player, and kind of like that, Randy. But what I was thinking was the legs were at the end. So like the legs would be at the end of the cylinder, because I didn't want it to appear to have a head. And that almost makes it look like that.
That's true.
Yeah. But so in this case, if you have a bond that we established earlier, and you feel like you've acted on that and it isn't something you would act on again, then we can call that done and mark an experience for it. And then after we go through the bonds, we have a couple other things to do. So let's start with that one. Does anyone feel like, I know it's only been an hour since we talked about bonds, but did anybody feel like they went through with something that they had written down?
Yeah, I thought the whole water on the horses thing was kind of crazy, but I'm like, you're Potts, and I trust you completely. You know,
Yeah,
I'll follow your play.
So that one, for me, that one is true. We just need to make sure that when you see one of these things, you're throwing water at it.
Oh yeah, totally. Oh yeah,
Right?
yep,
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
Cool. So yeah, go ahead and mark that one off and mark an experience for that. Randy, Zeb, anything?
I feel like I tried twice now during the flashback and recently about trying to tell Duke that he needs to try to use his intimidation more than just thievery, and he'll achieve either the same goal or possibly even better results. I feel like I don't know if that exactly meets, because he hasn't tried to do it himself yet, but I have instructed him twice now.
So here's where I'll play into that a little with some explanation of what I think it means when it talks about it being resolved, whether it be completely explored, no longer relevant, otherwise. So first off, Zeb, my first question would be, do you think Duke is going to take any of that advice?
Not yet.
Okay. And then say he hasn't taken any of that advice yet, Pat, would you keep giving him that advice, or are you giving up?
Probably continue, just to let him know that there's different, like, okay, you just continue trying to tell him that. We don't have to go all the way into that, but yeah,
and
just continue telling him.
For me, then we're not marking that one off yet, because it's continuing. Okay. You want to keep exploring that. If it was like, if Duke is already going to be like, no, I'm never going to try that, then we would say that may be resolved and pick write up a new bond to go with that.
Okay.
I could see it happening in the future, but just not yet.
So what about Duke? Anything on the bonds that you think might be resolved?
No one knows what I stole. I haven't had any indication that
nothing yet.
Yeah, nothing yet, and it hasn't come out yet, the incriminating details.
Hey, Frederick.
I still can't find my family heirloom. I don't know where I must have misplaced.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I know something incriminating that you'll find as well incriminating.
He wipes his nose with.
We'll solve this all at once.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that it's a powerful heirloom of truth, and it just hasn't come in. He just hasn't needed it yet. Manfred just hasn't needed it yet, so he hasn't noticed that it's gone.
Nice. So the next thing we look at is alignment. One of the reasons I wanted to cover it earlier. Does anyone feel like they had an action or did something in alignment with their alignment? To the point that you would say, like, I exemplified neutrality because I blanked, right? Something like that.
Would discover something about a magical mystery kind of relate to the constructs that I found out?
Do you think it's mysterious enough?
I think it's quite mysterious how they were made and why they what they're made and powered by, and it
And
does seem
yes. For the wizard, he has fulfilled his alignment this time.
Hey, my
And
only
one thing I
experience
will
point.
also say about alignment, if you can come up with another single statement, just like what's on your alignment now, if you can come up with another single statement that you think fits it, that you would rather strive for, like maybe you don't want to do the infiltrating kind of thing, and you just want the neutral to be something else for the thief, do that. But just let me know what it is so we can agree on it and move there too. Because sometimes what's in there just never really plays out. But we do review alignment at the end of each session, so it's worthwhile to at least have something there that you think you'll play against or play on. The next thing is we answer these 3 questions. First question is going to be a yes because it's our first session. Did we learn something new and important about the world? Yes, it exists. That's new and important. So we always get 1 experience on the first session for that, but every session after, we want to be learning new and important things about our world. So that's the first of the 3 questions we ask. Then, did we overcome a notable monster or enemy?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think if nothing else, Mr. Blood Ball Metal is definitely notable, something new to everybody. So definitely mark an experience for that. And then the last one, did we loot a memorable treasure?
I think so. In a way.
I would agree to that too. We found
What do you think it is?
The pool noodle.
Yeah, the
Yes.
pool noodle.
Okay. Then I will agree with that too. Yes. I didn't know if you were going to go anywhere else with it. I just wanted to see what you were saying first. Like, we found the red robe. I'm like, no, that's not a memorable treasure. Well, it might be. These are all things that we agree on, right? That's why I'm asking them this way as well. Cool. So anybody who had, I don't think anybody rolled an actual failure. So nobody got experience from a failure this time. But I think everybody should at least have 3, if not 4 or 5 experience marked.
Yeah, I got 4.
Okay. And that's something to keep an eye on, mainly because at the end of our next session, folks might actually have the experience to do the level up move, which is your current level plus 7. So you're going to need 8 experience to get to level 2. So you might be more than halfway there now if you got a bunch tonight, but you at least have 3 or 4. And that'll get you most of the way there based on if there are any failures in our next session. So that gets us through the first session of our Dungeon World adventure. Smoky Top is, I think, going to be the theme. So for the next one, I'll use Smoky Top in the name. And that's where we will pick up next time. Whew. Any other thoughts before we wrap this one up?
No.
No, yeah, I'm good.
That's good.
Yeah, good. I will say anybody who marked off a bond, think about the next bond. You should not have the same bond twice. Just think about something new, either just another one of the blanks that's on the character sheet, or look through all the other character sheets. It doesn't even need to be the bond that is on yours,
That
and
is
you
definitely
can
the
just make
plan.
it up, right?
Yeah.
You can make it like somebody could make a bond that said something like, I saw Pat kill the ball with the magic missile. The next time I'm going to tell him not to do it because we might want the thing alive. Something like that could be a new bond. And then you're just waiting for the next time that Pat's going to cast something at something that's dying and try to stop him. And then that would be that bond fulfilled. So think of things like that run session to session based on the things that we're learning about each of the characters.
Can the pool noodle be a friend that we could have bond with?
What I want to do is pick up the next session learning more about Pool Noodle. Okay. And by the way, the name I'm going to give it is going to have something to do with Pool Noodle now. I'm going to probably look it up in a few different languages and see if I can find something fun with that. Yeah, I would say definitely moving forward, but not yet because we don't know enough about it yet. In my opinion, at least, you don't know enough for it to be a friend. You
Yeah.
know enough that it's probably not going to hurt you.
Well, at least not
Not
going to hurt
so
me.
friendly.
Not going to hurt me.
Not
I
at
don't
all.
know about everybody else.
All right, guys. Then we wrap this one up, and for now, we can say bye.
Bye bye.
Sayonara.
The preceding podcast was brought to you by One Joe Young. You can find us online at adventuresfromtheshed.com.
Oh, Smoky Top, you'll always be a home sweet. Oh, you guys know that used to be a college there before the goblins killed them all, right?
Okay.
That is quite the spout lore on that one.
Roll for it!